today is the 100th day of Donald Trump's second term as the President of the United States. And to commemorate that day, I have 10 observations, thoughts, notes about Donald Trump and politics more generally after 100 days of Trump as the 47th president. Now, these are not in any particular order, but I hope they are all edifying to you. There's some about Trump, there's some about the media, there's some about Democrats, there's a little bit of everything. It's a bit of a potpourri, if you will. All right, let me go through the first few. Number one, Donald Trump, these are mostly facts with a little analysis thrown in. Number one, Donald Trump is at the lowest polling place of any president in modern history after 100 days. So I went and looked. My friend G. Elliott Morris has a great Substack called Strength in Numbers where he does a really high quality polling average. All the polls out there weighted smartly to get a reflection of where Trump stands. He is currently at 43% approval and 53% disapproval. The only president in the modern era, post-World War II, who has been close to that low mark is Donald Trump in 2017. So he's competing with himself in that regard. That's number one. Number two, his low poll standing is primarily, if not almost entirely, due to how he has handled tariffs and the economy. So obviously, Donald Trump gets elected in large part because people trust him more than they trust Joe Biden and Kamala Harris to get the economy in good shape. And by that, I think they broadly mean lower prices on everyday goods, reduce inflation. Donald Trump comes in, he puts tariffs against China and Mexico and Canada, then he puts more broad-scale tariffs, then he pauses the tariffs, then he puts them back in, then he pauses them again, and we are currently in a trade war with China. Okay, all of that has caused the stock market to drop significantly, though it's recovering a little bit now. It has caused economic confidence in Trump to dwindle drastically, and that has really impacted his overall job approval. I want to read a couple numbers from an ABC Washington Post Ipsos poll that was released earlier this week, marking Trump's 100 days. 53% of people said the economy is worse today than when Donald Trump took office. 62% say prices are going up on the things that they want and need versus where prices were when Trump took office. And 72%, yes, almost 3 in 4 people polled, 72% says a recession is likely in the near future because of Donald Trump's economic policies. That is, folks, as clear a signal as you can get. Trump was elected on the economy. People feel like he has not done what he said he would do on the economy, and in some cases has done the opposite, and that is why his poll numbers have gone simple and plain. Let me stop there and make a quick pitch before I get to my final 8 facts, notes, observations, and analyses on the Trump first 100 days. And the pitch is this. I want you to become a subscriber to this YouTube channel. It is free. It is easy. All you need to do is hit that subscribe button. Why? Why is it important? Because I'm an independent news creator. I am analyzing the news without a big billionaire boss or a big media conglomerate telling me what to do. And I'm also analyzing, breaking down the news without a left Democratic hat on or a right Republican hat on. I am an umpire. I am calling balls and strikes no matter what uniform the batter at the plate is wearing. Now more than ever, I hope you will believe that is important. I think it is absolutely critical. That is what I'm going to do. I'm not always going to tell you what you want to hear, but I will always, I promise, tell you things that are interesting and that you need to hear. So I hope you subscribe. All right, let's keep going. Number 3, my third fact, analysis, observation about Trump in his first 100 days. Trump is in the midst of a radical attempted expansion of executive power. Now, I will say this. Every president that I've covered in my lifetime, so that goes back to George W. Bush in 2000, has tried to expand executive power. They all try to do it. They all try to take power, especially from the legislative branch, a little bit from the judicial branch, but they all try to expand executive power. Presidents, the executive, want to have more power, want to have more say. They all do it. Trump is doing it on steroids, though. He is trying to expand executive power across places we never even thought before. So he's zeroing out things like USAID. Funding agencies is the is the prerogative of Congress typically, but Trump has effectively gotten rid of the USAID as well as a number of other government agencies. He's doing things like firing independent boards. The National Labor Relations Board is effectively an independent operation within the government, but Trump is saying, well, I don't like those people, I'm firing them. He's doing that. It's never been attempted before. He has signed 137 executive orders in his first 100 days. He has signed only 5 bills into law. If you need to understand how he is operating in terms of executive authority in that expansion, 137 executive orders, the most ever in the first 100 days, 5 bills signed into law, I believe the least ever in the first 100 days of a president. He is seeking to eliminate DEI and other woke policies, not just across the government, but in places like Harvard and Columbia University, threatening to withhold federal funding from them unless they do so. And then obviously the biggest move of executive power is on the tariffs. He has instituted these tariffs. He has now paused most of them with the exception of China. This is a massive assertion of executive power in a way that we've really never seen before, certainly not in a very, very long time. So expansion of executive power on steroids. Thought number 4 about Trump. If you are looking for his greatest success in the first 100 days, it is at the border. Border crossings are at a historic low. Now, I will note, and Democrats always point this out, that border crossings were on their way down at the end of Joe Biden's term, 2020 to 2024. True. But I don't think there's any question that border crossings, the fact that they are where they are, historically low, is because of the tough policies Donald Trump has put in place and just the tone. Donald Trump made very clear he was going to harden the border. He has done so. It has worked. Border crossings are at a near all-time low or an all-time low, depending on what figure you look. That's his greatest success. Fact number 5, observation number 5. The establishment across a wide variety of fields has really capitulated to Trump. So it started even before he was president. Meta and Amazon and all of these major tech companies giving $1 million plus to Donald Trump's inauguration fund. Bezos and Musk and Zuckerberg all being in the second row of Trump's inauguration right behind his family. Law firms who, under the threat that Donald Trump would make it difficult for them because he said they supported woke and democratic policies, have said, we'll give you millions of dollars of pro bono work. Just don't say anything bad about us. Republican elected officials really haven't stood up in any meaningful way against anything Trump has tried to do, especially taking away power of the purse, the power to decide who gets what money in the federal government away from Congress. They haven't stood up to him at all. They have rolled over to him. And finally, the media. Look, I don't think you should be surprised that the mainstream media is capitulating to Trump. We saw a settlement by ABC with Donald Trump on an absolutely frivolous case. We've seen the Washington Post repeatedly make moves that are aimed at currying favor with Donald Trump. There is rumor of Paramount, the parent company of CBS, making a deal on another frivolous lawsuit, a settlement with Donald Trump. This will continue, right? The most important thing to understand is the color that defines Washington is neither red nor blue. It is green, the color of money. All right, point 6. This is a non-Donald Trump one. Democrats are still in the wilderness. They are still lost. So for all the attention Donald Trump gets, and he rightly gets a vast amount of attention, the truth of the matter is the Democratic Party, has never been, that I can remember, in worse shape. So 30-ish% of people have a favorable view of the Democratic Party. I have talked to strategist after strategist for the Democratic Party. They say that the words that come up most often when people are asked about the Democratic Party are weak and woke. You will not win with those two words. The party is also hurt by the fact that it is largely leaderless. Joe Biden's not the leader of the Democratic Party. Neither is Kamala Harris. Neither is Chuck Schumer, certainly. Neither is Hakeem Jeffries. Neither is Barack Obama. Neither is Bill Clinton. And neither are the kind of up-and-comers, Josh Shapiro and Gretchen Whitmer and Gavin Newsom and Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez. So it doesn't have a leader, which means chaos. And I think that's what we've seen. So while we focus on Republicans, and Donald Trump is not in a good place in terms of polling, Democrats aren't either. Observation number 7. Elon Musk is on his way out. So if one of the major storylines of the first 100 days was the rise of Elon Musk, he goes from kind of world's richest guy, kind of political gadfly at the end. You know, he's giving money to Trump, $250 million worth. He's at Trump rallies wearing the like dark MAGA hat. Well, then all of a sudden Elon Musk is the central figure other than Donald Trump in the first 50 days of this White House. He's leading the Department of Government Efficiency. They are zeroing out a bunch of federal agencies. People are being fired. Elon Musk is in the Oval Office doing joint press conferences with Trump, holding his kid, Elon Musk kid, on his shoulders. For the first 50 days, it was a Trump and Elon presidency. The last 50 days, you've seen Elon's influence start to ebb, I guess is the right word. And I think the next 100 days, you're not going to hear all that much from Elon Musk. I know he says he's going to remain involved in the administration, but look, Tesla is doing poorly. Donald Trump, I think, is sick of him, and even if he doesn't say it out loud. And I think you're starting to see Elon move out. So if Elon was the story of the first 100 days, I think he'll be a much less big story of the next 100 days. The worst story of the first 100 days for Donald Trump was Signalgate. This is the accidental addition of the Atlantic editor-in-chief, a guy named Jeffrey Goldberg, to a Signal text chain in which Mike Waltz, the National Security Advisor, Pete Hegseth, the Secretary of Defense, Vice President J.D. Vance, Director of National Intelligence Tulsi Gabbard, and lots of other people are on it, and they are discussing operational details of a military strike against the Houthis in Yemen in March. Really, really bad in the way it was handled, where they denied it, even though it was obviously true, and suggested that somehow Goldberg had gotten himself added to the chat when Waltz had obviously accidentally added him. Really bad look. And I think a story that when the history of Trump's second term is written will absolutely be in the second or third paragraph, I think. Although, who knows what's to come. Point observation number 9. A lot of people ask me, who are the most powerful people in Trump's orbit? So here are 4 people that I think are, in the first 100 days, have mattered the most. Elon Musk is kind of in there, but I don't count him in this list. I'm counting staffers or cabinet secretaries at this point. So in that group is Stephen Miller. His title, I think, is head of domestic policy. I think he makes, with the exception of tariffs, I think he makes a lot of the big calls and has a huge amount of influence on where Donald Trump lands on virtually every domestic issue. Russ Vought. Russ Vought was one of the creators of Project 2025. He is now the head of the Office of Management and Budget, basically the person in charge of sort of how money gets spent. I think he has a huge influence on how Trump views the federal government, where to spend and where not to spend. Scott Bessent, the Secretary of the Treasury. Bessent has been a voice trying to calm Trump down on tariffs, and it looks like, at least for now, he's won. Trump has put this 90-day pause on tariffs. Scott Bessent and Peter Navarro are both Trump advisors. Navarro is the most pro-tariff guy. Bessent is kind of a leveling force. Bessent, at least now, I think, has more of Trump's ear and has kind of won that argument. And then the last person, she doesn't get a lot of attention, but Susie Wiles, Donald Trump's chief of staff. Say what you will about her. She's very low profile. She's very behind the scenes. I think she mostly lets Trump be Trump. She is still the White House chief of staff. And so I have to assume she has vast influence on who gets to see him, who doesn't get to see him, and sort of how he thinks about things. Last thing, point number 10 on Donald Trump's first 100 days. There are, as of today, 1,361 more days of the Trump presidency, which means there are 13 more 100-day blocks to go. We are 1 down, 13 to go. I use those numbers to remind you, don't make conclusions based on the first 100 days. It did not go well for Donald Trump. He is off to a poor start based on polling, but we are 1/14 of the way into his presidency. There are 1,361 days in front of him and 100 days behind him. So just be careful of drawing quick and fast conclusions, determinations about what Trump's presidency has meant or will mean based on 100 days. All right, that's it for me. Thanks for, this video is a little longer, but I thought it's 100 days. I wanted to give you something special. If you aren't a subscriber, as I said before, I hope you become one. Calling balls and strikes, no matter what uniform the batter at the plate is wearing, that's me. 2 other things you can do. 1, like this video. 2, comment on this video. Both of those things help build community, but also help with the YouTube algorithm. It helps get my stuff out to more people who aren't subscribers yet, who I think might like this. Last thing, and this is a favor. Tell a few people who are interested in this sort of stuff, politics, policy, they want explainers, they want to understand what's going on, but they don't want kind of a nerdy too jargony filled explanations. I hope I scratch that itch. That is my goal. I'm making 8 videos, 2 every day, Monday through Thursday, and then I do a live stream where I take your questions on Fridays. I am always here, always available. Please support me by becoming a subscriber. If you already are, go out and evangelize about why more people should. Thanks, and take care.